What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Pat Outdoors. Hope you're having a great holiday break. Merry Christmas. We're back today with the MX650 mini Enduro project. If you follow my channel, you probably know that I like dirt bikes and I like razors. I actually have a couple different ones for different purposes, but this one we put together to ride on some dirt trails. A couple videos ago, I talked about some of the little changes I want to make to it since the last few times that I rode it. I noticed the suspension for the rear is absolute trash. I got to change something about that. I also wanted to improve the handling as far as the steering limitation and just the positioning of the handlebars. I'm actually not happy with how high it is. It just simply feels a little awkward for me. And I kind of want to make some aesthetic changes as well while we're working on the bike. So let's get started. Considering this thing started as a kid's toy, I think it's done pretty well so far. I've been very happy with the performance of the brakes and the front suspension. This stuff's from Altered Ego. It's got like a 195 or 200 millimeter front rotor with a hydraulic dual piston caliper, hydraulic fork. I've got some IRC motocross tires on there. See, they're a lot larger than factory. I've got the Vever brushless motor kit on there. Got a 52 volt, 20 amp hour battery with a 50 amp BMS. So I'm pretty happy with the drivetrain, electronics, braking, front suspension. So we're not going to do anything with that for the meantime. But as far as the handlebar and the risers that the fork came with, just position it way too far up and it just feels kind of awkward and also looks awkward. This Chinese 200 something millimeter rear shock that I got from Amazon does not really do anything as far as the shock, and the spring is just way too stiff. So we're going to be swapping that out with something that's actually effective. I have also dropped this bike quite a bit since we put it together. So it's got a lot of scratches and crease marks all over the plastics. I got it used, so it was a little beat, but we beat it up a little bit more since we got it. So we're actually gonna be swapping that out with some CRF plastic set to make it look like that, because my snow bike looks absolutely stunning. So we're gonna improve the way this one looks while we have it apart. Please excuse how dirty the bike is. It's still a little caked in mud since we last took it out, but we're gonna brush all this stuff off before we put it back together. First thing we're gonna be removing is this rear shock. It's just a Allen bolt top and bottom, pretty straightforward. Then I'm gonna show you what we're replacing it with. So this is the new shock that we're going to be using for the rear. This is by D&M. It's 190 millimeters long, which is about 40 millimeters longer than stock. Should give your MX650 or MX500 about 1.5 to 2 inch lift for the rear. The one we took out is 200 millimeters long, supposedly, but it looks exactly the same to me. The spring rate on this is 750 pounds. Which is a lot stiffer than stock, but I purposely chose that since I'm a little bit of a heavier rider than the kid that this bike was originally designed for. This spring rate is actually 1,200 pounds, which I don't know what I was thinking. It is way too stiff and rode like complete garbage. The rebound is adjustable on the D&M shock. I don't know if you can hear that clicking, but that's slowing it down or speeding it up. I'm gonna leave this on the middle setting until we take the bike out with it to get a feel for how comfortable it is. I really like that. It's just like the coilovers on my car. This is direct bolt on for a MX500 or 650. It did come with some adapters because they assume that you're gonna use this like on a mountain bike, which what they usually design shocks for. D&M is used by Suron and Electro & Co. for their ETM bikes or ETM upgrades. So I trust this brand. I've used this on my mountain bikes before. I'm actually using one of their cheaper shocks on my street bike, but I wanted something that's got a little bit more adjustability. It was a nice direct bolt-on fitment, and you could still reach the rebound adjustability knob through the top if you need to make any adjustments. Now I'm going to be replacing these really tall handlebar risers with the factory brackets to lower the handlebar 2 inches. The reason why I didn't use these stock ones to begin with when I installed the fork is because the bolts from the original one just simply too short to reach all the way through the triple tree. And then these new risers came with these super long bolts that are held on by these nuts at the bottom. But it would have been way too long for it to properly secure it in place. So I actually got a set of these M8 bolts from Amazon that are 65 millimeters long, which is a size in between this and those ones. So hopefully it'll work. I personally think it looks a lot better this way with the handlebar closer to the fork. These stock handlebars are pretty tall to begin with, but my opinion with these risers might change if you're using a flat bar like what I have on my street bike. So I might use these for that bike when we give it a makeover soon. Next thing that I wanted to work on is the turning radius. Ever since I installed this fork, there does seem to be a little bit of a rotational limit because the back of the fork hits this bump stop that's on the frame. And I did get an email from Keaton Scarlett about a week ago with a suggestion of grinding these down. So I appreciate it, brother. I'm gonna do just that. So here's what I ended up doing. I shaved down the top outer corner and top inner edge of the plastic bump stop on the frame. And then I filed down the inner corners on the back side of the triple tree with the grinder. And then now it allows for plenty of rotation. So this shouldn't be a limiting factor anymore. I actually got to cut today's video a little short because I got to join my family for a Christmas thing. But on the next video, we're going to be wrapping up this bike, putting on the CRF 50 plastics and whatnot. So stay tuned if you want to see that. But if you enjoyed today's video or found it helpful in any way, do me a favor and hit that like button. If you like this kind of content, want to keep up with some of my bike projects, consider subscribing to this channel. But this is going to be it for today. Thank you for watching and happy holidays.